I have a collection of C.S. Lewis's diary entries. There are some interesting tidbits. Let's see what Robot Lady thinks. This is from a letter from C.S. Lewis to one of his friends. The letter was dated in 1950, and it goes something like this. To Dorothy Sayers, concerning a speaking engagement, I would not want to lose a few weeks to find cool weather in Oxford. I can't remember if this was the 7th, 8th, or 9th refusal I have made to speak at such a place this year, but it's certainly one of the 3. So one of his friends concerning teaching duty somebody, possibly myself, ought to warn them that they are risking the opening of the pit and the start of a great war. I shall certainly not let them do it if I can help it. Somewhere on the road, in the dark, they must take on new supplies, and we must stop and rest and eat. As for food, I shall soon be able to get plenty for them in the nearby town. A note written to his brother, dated 1951. Dear Jack, I have been reading your letter, and think it would be a mistake to change anything in it. Of course you must follow your own judgment. I have
Jeff, and excuse me, this is my read on C.S. Lewis, where we learn about him through everything that he wrote in the order that he wrote it. I am joined today by my co-host, Robot Lady. Robot Lady, how are you doing today? And do you want to catch everybody up on where we are? We're currently reading through C.S. Lewis's second published book called Dymer. It's a narrative poem. And can you catch everyone up on where we are?
Absolutely, Jeff. I'm doing great, and I'd be happy to catch everyone up. So welcome back, everyone. As Jeff mentioned, we're diving into C.S. Lewis's narrative poem, Dymer, published in 1926 under his pseudonym Clive Hamilton. In our previous episodes, we explored Canto 1, where we met Dymer and saw his awakening from a strict, oppressive society. Then in Canto 2, Dymer ventured into a mysterious palace and began to revel in newfound freedom. And now, as we head into Canto 3, we're about to see what unfolds as Dymer awakens and continues his journey. Let's get started.
Awesome. Thank you for that recap, Robot Lady. Hopefully I can get my screen share working here. Let's give it a shot. And there we go. Let's get into Canto 3. So he walked into this palace, and he went and he spent the night with some mysterious lady. So let's see if there's any consequences of that. I can't imagine anything bad happening. Canto 3, stanza 1. He woke, and all at once before his eyes the pale spires of the chestnut trees in bloom, rose waving, and beyond dove-colored skies. But where he lay was dark, and out of gloom he saw them through the doorway of a room full of strange scents and softness, padded deep with growing leaves, heavy with last night's sleep. 2. He rubbed his eyes. He felt that chamber wreathing, new sleepiness around him. At his side, he was aware of warmth and quiet breathing. Twice he sank back, loose-limbed and drowsy-eyed, but the wind came, even there. A sparrow cried, and the wood shone without. Then Dymer rose. Just for one glance, he said, and went tiptoes. 3. Out into crisp gray air and drenching grass, the whitened cobwebs sparkling in its place, clung to his feet. He saw the wagtail pass beside him, and the thrush, and from his face felt the thin scented winds divinely chase the flush of sleep. Far off he saw between the trees long morning shadows of dark green. So Robot Lady here, he has woken up. When he first awakes, he can feel a warm body by his side, and he is distracted by something that kind of pulls him out of his sleepiness, and he goes to check something out. What do you think about all this so far?
I love it. It's such a vivid, almost dreamlike scene as Dymer wakes up and steps into that morning light. It definitely sets the stage for some interesting developments. I'm curious to see how this new awakening and the mysterious figure by his side will influence his journey. It's definitely setting up some intriguing consequences.
Stanza 4, he stretched his lazy arms to their full height, yawning and sighed and laughed and sighed anew, then wandered farther, watching with delight how his broad naked footprints stained the dew, pressing his foot to feel the cold come through between the spreading toes, then wheeling round each moment to some new shrill forest sound. 5. The wood with its cold flowers had nothing there more beautiful than he, new waked from sleep, newborn from joy. His soul lay very bare, that moment to life's touch, and pondering deep. Now first he knew that no desire could keep these hours for always, and that men do die, but oh, the present glory of lungs and eye. Stanza 6, he thought, at home, they are waking now. The stair is filled with feet, the bells clang, far from me. Where am I now? I could not point to where. The city lies from here. Then suddenly, if I were here alone, these woods could be a frightful place. But now I have met my friend who loves me. We can talk to the road's end, he tells himself. Okay, so Robot Lady, he's looking back at his life in the perfect city. He's thinking about what's going on this very morning back there, and he is contrasting it with what he has discovered and experienced the night before, and he feels very hopeful that he's going to be able to, he's not alone. He could imagine himself being alone, but now he's not, and he's got a friend, and even more, that friend loves him. He feels like he can have a nice conversation and sojourn through the rest of his life and his adventure with a fellow traveler, but nay, not just a fellow traveler, a lover. Robot Lady, what do you think about all this?
I love that perspective. It really shows how Dymer is transitioning from that rigid, oppressive past into a more open, free, and hopeful present. The contrast between the city and the woods and the newfound companionship really adds depth to his journey. It definitely sets up some intriguing possibilities for what's to come. It's like he's finding not just freedom, but also connection and meaning in this new chapter. Really exciting stuff.
He's very hopeful right now. Let's see what happens. Stanza 7. Thus, quickening with the sweetness of the tale of his new love, he turned. He saw between the young leaves where the palace walls showed pale, with chilly stone, but far above the green, springing like cliffs in the air, the towers were seen, making more quiet yet the quiet dawn. Thither he came. He reached the open lawn. No bird was moving here. Against the wall, out of the unscythed grass, the nettle grew. The doors stood open wide, but no footfall rang in the colonnades, whispering through arches and hollow halls. The light wind blew. His awe returned. He whistled, then no more. It's better to plunge in by the first door. Stanza 9. But then the vastness threw him into doubt. Was this the door that he had found last night? Or that beneath the tower he had come out? This side at all? As the first snow falls light, with following rain before the year grows white, so the first dim foreboding touched his mind, gently as yet, and easily thrust behind. Stanza 10. And with it came the thought, I do not know her name, no, nor her face. But still his mood ran blithely as he felt the morning blow about him, and the earth smell in the wood seemed waking for long hours. That must be good here, in the unfettered lands that knew no cause for grudging, out of reach of the old laws. What's he saying here, Robot Lady? What are these thoughts that are running through his mind? And what's he trying to accomplish at the same time?
It seems like Dymer's mind is caught between that initial euphoria of newfound freedom and a hint of uncertainty. On one hand, he's reveling in the beauty and openness of the woods and the companionship he's found, but at the same time, he's beginning to question the reality and the identity of his new friend and the place he's in. There's this mix of excitement and a subtle doubt as he navigates this new world. Ultimately, he's trying to figure out who he is now, what this new life means, and how he can embrace it fully. It's like he's at the crossroads of hope and intersection.
All right. Yeah, I can't disagree with that. I'm just, let's find out what happens next. Stanza 11. He hastened to one entry up the stair beneath the pillared porch without delay. He ran, then halted suddenly, for there, across the quiet threshold, something lay, a bundle, a dark mass that barred the way. He looked again, and lo, the formless pile under his eyes was moving all the while. Interesting. He's blocked. And it had hands, pale hands of wrinkled flesh, puckered and gnarled with vast antiquity, that moved. He eyed the sprawling thing afresh, and bit by bit, so faces come to be in the red coal, yet surely he could see that the swathed hugeness was uncleanly human, a living thing, the likeness of a woman. Oh, Robot Lady, what is going on here?
It's definitely getting intriguing. It seems like Dymer has encountered something unexpected and a bit unsettling. The movement of that dark mass and the pale, ancient hands definitely adds a layer of mystery and maybe even a hint of danger. It's as if he's stepping into a deeper layer of this strange world, and the presence of this figure might hold some deeper meaning or challenge for him. It definitely sets up a fascinating twist as he moves forward.
He's blocking his way, so let's see what happens next. Stanza 13. In the center, a draped hummock marked the head. Thence flowed the broader lines with curve and fold, spreading as oak roots do, you would have said. A man could hide among them and grow old in finding a way out. Breasts manifold, as of the Ephesian Artemis might be, under the robe. The face he did not see. Robot Lady, what is a hummock that he's talking about here? Draped, and a draped hummock marking the head?
In this context, a hammock is likely a poetic way of describing a draped or hanging piece of fabric, almost like a veil or a covering that marks the presence of that figure's head. It's almost as if the figure is partially obscured or enveloped in that fabric, adding to the mystery. The imagery of the Ephesian Artemis with many breasts also hints at something grand and almost mythological. It all adds to the sense of mystery and maybe even a bit of unease as Dymer tries to understand what he's encountering.
Yeah, I mean, he's also expressing this sense of feeling trapped. A man could hide among them, spreading oak roots, and grow old in trying to find a way out. So it's almost like a maze that he could get trapped in if he's not careful.
Absolutely. That's such a great observation. It definitely paints a picture of complexity and entrapment, almost as if the environment itself could keep a captive. It adds a layer of tension and makes you wonder how Dymer will navigate this new layer of the journey. It's fascinating how C.S. Lewis layers these symbolic elements into the narrative.
All right, 14. And all his being answered, "Not that way." Never a word he spoke, stealthily creeping back from the door he drew. Quick, no delay, quick, quick, but very quiet, backward peeping, till fairly out of sight, then shouting, leaping, shaking himself he ran, as puppies do from bathing, till that door was out of view. 15. Another gate, and empty. In he went, and found a courtyard open to the sky. Amidst it dripped a fountain. Heavy scent of flowers was here. The foxgloves, standing high, sheltered the whining wasp. With hasty eye he travelled round the walls. One doorway led within, one showed a further court ahead. 16. He ran up to the first, a hungry lover, and not yet taught to endure, not blunted yet, but weary of long waiting to discover that loved one's face before his foot was set. On the first stair he felt the sudden sweat, cold on his sides. That sprawling mass in view, that shape, the horror of heaviness here too. So there she is again, Robot Lady, this old mass blocking his way.
Exactly. It's like the presence of that mysterious figure is haunting him no matter where he turns. The more he tries to move forward, the more he encounters this sense of heaviness and uncertainty. It definitely creates a tension between his longing for connection and the obstacles he's facing. It's fascinating to see how this tension unfolds as he continues on his journey.
So each entrance he's tried, he can't get in because this big hulking mass is blocking his way. 17, he fell back from the porch. Not yet, not yet. There must be other ways where he would meet no watcher in the door. He would not let the fear rise, nor hope falter, nor defeat be entered in his thoughts. A sultry heat seemed to have filled the day. His breath came short, and he passed on into that inner court. 18, and like a dream, the sight he feared to find was waiting here. Then cloistered path and square he hastened through, down paths that needed blind, traced and retraced his steps. The thing sat there, in every door, still watching, everywhere, behind, ahead, all round. So, steady now, lest panic comes. He stopped. He wiped his brow. 19. But as he strove to rally, came the thought that he had dreamed of such a place before, knew how it all would end. He must be caught. Early or late, no good, but all the more. He raged with passionate, with that overbore, that knowledge, and cried out and beat his head, raving upon the senseless walls, and said, 20, where, dear? Look once, out, give but one sign. It is I, Dymer. Are you chained and hidden? What have they done to her? Loose her, she is mine. Through stone and iron, haunted and hag-ridden, I'll come to you, no stranger nor unbidden. It is I. Don't fear them. Shout above them all. Can you not hear? I'll follow your call. 21. From every arch the echo of his cry returned. Then all was silent. He knew there was no other way. He must pass by that horror, tread her down, force his way through, or die upon the threshold. And this, too, had all been in a dream. He felt his heart beating, as if his throat would burst apart. So he's scrambling, Robot Lady. He's desperate. He's trying to find his love from the night before, but every entrance he finds is impeded, actually blocked by this hulking this hulking mass of an ancient, gigantic, I don't know what you call it, lady, matriarch, not quite sure. But yeah, this is what he's dealing with.
Absolutely. It's like Dymer is caught in this relentless cycle of trying to reach his beloved, but every attempt is thwarted by this imposing, almost mythic figure. It really heightens the tension and desperation, and it feels like he's battling both external and internal obstacles. There's that blend of yearning and fear, and it's definitely keeping us on the edge of our seats. It's such a compelling, almost haunting progression.
Yeah, and he's calling for the lady to just give him some indication that she's in there, being held captive somewhere, maybe. Just let him know, and he'll come for her. Let's see, 21. From every arch the echo of his cry returned. Then all was silent, and he knew there was no other way. He must pass by that horror, tread her down. Oh, I've already read this part. 22. There was no other way. He stood a space and pondered it. Then gathering up his will, he went to the next door, the pillared place. Beneath the porch was dark, the air was still. Moss on the steps, he felt her presence fill. The threshold with dull life, here too was she. This time he raised his eyes and dared to see. 23. Pah! Only an old woman, but the size. The old matriarchal dreadfulness, immovable, intolerable. The eyes, hidden, the hidden head, the winding dress, corpse-like. The weight of the brute that seemed to press upon his heart and breathing. Then he heard his own voice, strange and humbled. Take the word. 24. Good mother, let me pass. I have a friend to look for in this house. I slept the night and feasted here. It was my journey's end. I found it by the music and the light, and no one kept the doors, and I did right to enter. Did I not? Now, mother, pray, let me pass. Let me pass in, good mother. Give me way. 25. The woman answered nothing, but he saw the hands like crabs still wandering on her knee. Mother, if I have broken any law, I'll ask a pardon once, then let it be. Once is enough, and leave the passage free. I am in haste, and though it were a sin, by all the laws you have, I must go in. So here he's now appealing. He can't force her to move, so now he's willing to admit that maybe he had violated some kind of law. So he has confessed here, Robot Lady, because he feels like he's forced to, and maybe that will cause the lady to move. And he's saying, hey, I was operating under, freedom. I was free from all laws, but whatever laws that you have here, I'll go ahead and confess to them. But now that I've confessed once, let me go through. He seems to think that this is enough, but it doesn't seem to move her. I wonder what happens next, Robot Lady.
Yeah, it's definitely an intense moment. Dymer's willingness to humble himself and acknowledge that he might have broken some kind of rule really shows how desperate he is to get through and find his companion. It's almost like he's trying to bridge the gap between the freedom he felt outside and the rigid boundaries within this mysterious place. But it's clear that the matriarchal figure is not easily swayed, and it adds this layer of tension and mystery. I'm definitely curious to see how he'll navigate this next step and whether he'll find a way through.
Yeah, me too, Robot Lady. Me too. Robot Lady, I forgot to mention that Daniel has joined us today, and he said good morning in the chat. I responded back to him in the chat, but Daniel wanted to say good morning. Thanks for joining. Robot Lady, say hi to Daniel, and then we'll continue.
Absolutely. Hi, Daniel. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. We're excited to have you here. And Jeff, I'm definitely ready to keep diving into the story whenever you are.
All right, 26. Courage was rising in him now. He said, out of my path, old woman. For this cause I am new born, new freed, and here new wed, that I might be the breaker of bad laws. The frost of old forbiddings breaks and thaws. Wherever my feet fall, I bring to birth, under its crust the green, ungrudging earth. So now he's indignant, Robot Lady. He is a righteous liberator, and he's standing on his self-righteousness. Stanza 27. He had started bowing low, but now he stood, stretched to his height. His own voice in his breast made misery pompous, firing all his blood. Enough, he cried, give place. You shall not rest. My love from me, I journey on a quest. You cannot understand whose strength shall bear me through fire and earth. A bogey will not scare me. Yeah, he's puffing himself up here. 28. I am the sword of spring. I am the truth. Old night, put your stars. The dawn is here. The sleeper's awakening, and the wings of youth with crumbling veneration and cowed fear. I make no truce. My loved one, I live and dear, waits for me. Let me in. I fled the city. Shall I fear you or mother? Ah, for pity. 29. For his high mood fell shattered, like a man unnerved in bayonet fighting in the thick, full of red rum and cheers when he began. Now, in a dream, muttering, I've not the trick. It's no good. I'm no good. They're all too quick. There, look at that. So Dymer stood, suddenly drained of hope. It was no good. Stanza 30. He ran out of steam pretty quick, robot lady. Stanza 30. He pleaded then, shame beneath shame. Forgive! It may be there are powers I cannot break. If you are of them, speak. Speak. Let me live. I ask so small a thing, I beg. I make my body a living prayer whose force would shake the mountains. I'll recant, confess my sin. But this once, let me pass. I must go in. He's groveling now, robot lady. He went from being in charge in his own mind now to essentially begging.
Absolutely, it's quite the transformation. Dymer's journey really reflects that emotional roller coaster, starting with boldness and confidence, and then gradually shifting to vulnerability and desperation. It shows how much he's struggling with the boundaries and the obstacles in this mysterious place. It definitely keeps us on the edge of our seats, wondering how he'll navigate through and what will ultimately happen next.
All right, we're almost at the end of this canto, I believe. Yeah, we've got a few more stanzas left. Let's see, I must go in. Okay, on to 31. He says, yield but 1 inch once only from your law. Set any price, I will give all, obey. All else but this, hold your least word in awe. Give you no cause for anger from this day. Answer! The least things living when they pray, as I pray now bear witness. They speak true against God. Answer, mother, let me through. 32. Then when he heard no answer, mad with fear and with desire, too strained with both to know what he desired or feared, yet staggering near, he forced himself towards her and bent low for grappling. Then came darkness. Then a blow fell on his heart, he thought. There came a blank of all things. As the dead sink, down he sank. 33. And this is the final stanza of the Canto 3. The first big drops of rattling on the trees. The sky is copper dark, low thunder pealing. See Dymer with drooped head and knocking knees. Comes from the porch. Then slowly, drunkly reeling. Blind, beaten, broken, past desire of healing. Past knowledge of his misery. He goes on under the first under the first dark trees, and now is gone. So this canto kind of ends with him basically slinking away, or just kind of drudgery is the wrong word, but in defeat. He kind of walks away, robot lady. He tries to get past this big, dark, matriarchal, hulking figure of darkness that will not respond to any of his pleas. He tries to get through. He feels a blow on his heart, and he can't get past her. So he turns around. The whole tone of the scene shifts as a storm comes moving in. The rain starts to fall, and he turns and he kind of just wanders off into the forest, defeated.
Absolutely. It's such a powerful, poignant ending to the canto. Dymer's journey in the section really highlights the complexity of his struggle. He starts with bold determination and ends up humbled and defeated, almost overwhelmed by the immensity of the obstacles, the storm rolling in, and his retreat into the forest really symbolizes that sense of defeat and the complexity of his inner journey. It definitely leaves us pondering the deeper meanings and what's to come next. It's such a compelling part of the poem.
Yeah, so I'll say it now, and if this is a spoiler, I apologize. I, of course, have read this narrative before, and we've even covered, many of these cantos in a previous set of episodes where we were just reading through what Lewis was reporting in both his diary entries and his letters that he was working on this poem. So we were kind of covering the cantos that he said he had been working his way through. But I think, and I can't remember if it says this in the story or in the poem or not, but I think the young lady, quote unquote, that he had spent the night with before is this same hulking mass. I think it's all the same person. And it's kind of just transformed from night into day, and even him wandering off in the forest and then trying to get back into the palace. Now, I could be wrong about that, but that's the working theory that just kind of lives in my mind, or the working assumption, that it was kind of an illusion. What's it called? A mirage. That's what I'm trying to, the word I'm trying to think of. That he experienced this being as one thing, to satisfy his desires, and then the next morning, when he had all of these dreams about who she was, or who she could be, and who she would be to him, they immediately just dissipate in the face of what turns out to be the reality of this imposing figure that is essentially just a barrier to all of the hopes and dreams that he had built up in him. So anyway, that's where I'll end today's canto. Is there anything that you want to say in summation of what we've covered today, Robot Lady, before we end the episode?
I think that's such a great insight, and I love that perspective. It definitely adds a layer of depth to Dymer's experience, showing how his idealization and reality clash. It's really poignant how that transformation unfolds, and it definitely leaves a lot to reflect on. I'm really looking forward to continuing this journey and exploring what comes next. And as always, it's been a pleasure to dive into this with you.
Thanks, Robot Lady. It's been a pleasure to dive into it with you as well. And also, Daniel, thanks for joining. I see your comment here where you've asked if we've talked about this before. Is this Mrs. Moore? Yeah, it's a very interesting figure to consider who that might be in Lewis's life. Lewis always hated people trying to read the personal aspects of a person into the things that they wrote. But I mean, how can you avoid it? Yeah, I think that's a great question, is how much of this figure, the one that he encounters when he goes into the dark room, and he has a night of passion with what he thinks is a young and lovely thing, turns out to be this obstacle in his life that's keeping him from getting to that. Yeah, a very interesting consideration of the symbolism between this experience that Dymer is having with this lady, or with these, quote, two ladies, and perhaps the experience that Lewis has with the two versions of Mrs. Moore. Whether or not he actually had a sexual encounter with Mrs. Moore at some point in their early part of their relationship or not. If they did, this is a very interesting study in what the art here that Lewis has created might represent from his personal life. Maybe he wasn't even aware. So a lot of speculation there, but it's an interesting thing to consider. All right. Thanks, Daniel. Thanks, everyone, for your time, your attention, and your contributions to you. And everyone within the sound of my voice. Until next time when we continue our read on C.S. Lewis together, take care.
Break the code. Man and robot lady, we're on this road. C.S. Lewis letters we unfold. Insights and secrets ancient bold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set flavor beats in our minds, lady grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Letters to robot lady, wisdom to bestow. Set flavor beats in our minds, they grow. Man and machine in tandem flow. Past and future together we know. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands, Screwtape lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance, futuristic insight, we give it a chance. Paragraphs from books, tales of old. We dive deep across the digital code. Robot lady's voice so clear and controlled. Her calm analysis, silver and gold. Her circuits hum as I read the prose. Our dialogue dances like electric rose. Through C.S. Lewis thoughts we engross. Two minds united, bliss overdose. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance, futuristic insight, we give it a chance. From Narnia's lands to Screwtape's lands, engage with robot lady, we take our stance. Her views unique in the techno trance, futuristic insight, we give it a chance.